Hey Dare to Dreamers, it's Michelle Osorio, and I wanted to talk today about camera confidence. And I wanted to tell you a story that a lot of people don't know. So there was a time in my life when I had this desire to express myself. I loved to sing and I loved standing on a stage and sharing my story. There was just one little problem. I had terrible stage fright. So I loved it so much that I still did it anyway. I auditioned for and I got into a musical theater academy, and I loved singing, but every time I was on a stage, it was like going through a heart attack every time. I would go on the stage and I could just feel my heart like this. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and it made it really hard to sing. So, because if you didn't know, you have to take deep breaths and control your breath as you project your voice, and that's a little bit hard to do when you're trying to sing with your heart racing at the same time. You want to take breaths all the time. So I'm singing, ah, and in my head, as I'm going, ah, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to breathe. I need to breathe. I need to breathe because my heart is pounding. But I couldn't, because I had to sing properly. So it was really tough. It was really hard. And I wish I could tell you a happy ending story at that time of my life, that I overcame it when I was a teenager and I got over my stage fright, but actually I didn't. It was a bit of a sad story, which was, the good part is I fell in love with film after I graduated from my musical theater academy and I became a filmmaker. That was really awesome. I don't regret it. The sad part is I didn't know at the time that a little bit of that was an excuse, because I was tired of being afraid all the time. And so if I could hide behind the camera, I would no longer have to stand out on that stage and be judged. And so I decided, I fell in love with telling stories, but I would hire actors and I would let them tell the stories for me. And I would just craft the script and I would direct the shots. And although I loved it, I didn't realize it at the time, but some of that was fueled by fear. And I did not feel comfortable taking the spotlight. It took me many years and the pushing of people who knew me to have the gall and the audacity to stand in front of the camera. So sometimes in our lives, we have a tendency to put other people in the spotlight instead of ourselves. Even though deep down inside, maybe we can admit it, maybe we can't, but deep down inside, we want that spotlight. And deep down, somewhere inside, we feel like we deserve that spotlight. But it can be so hard, can't it, to hear that voice? So sometimes we just pass it off to someone else, and we stand in the spotlight. We stand to the side of the stage, and we watch somebody else stand in the spotlight. We give that spotlight to someone else because something in us is arguing that we shouldn't have the audacity to take that spotlight ourselves. Whether it's that we don't have the confidence, we feel we don't deserve it, we think we don't look good enough, we're not thin enough, we're not tall enough, we're not old enough, we're not young enough, we're just not enough to take that spotlight. Does this make sense? Does anybody else know what that feels like? Can I see some hand emojis or hear from you if you know what I'm talking about? So there is a happy ending here, that eventually I did realize, thanks to my friends pushing me in this direction, and I started getting on camera and I felt very uncomfortable. But I will say, after many years, I did get used to it, and actually now I feel comfortable in front of the camera. It took a long time, but now I can actually watch myself and think, Michelle, you've gained a few pounds, you got a double chin there, your hair's kind of messed up, but you did a good job. That's a good video. And that's incredible. I never would have thought a few years ago that I could watch myself like that and be happy. But it was a long road, and it took a lot of looking at myself, looking at my life, looking at my desires, and deciding I wanted it badly enough. I wanted to share my story and share my voice myself with my voice. I decided I wanted that badly enough that I was willing to be uncomfortable for a while standing in front of a camera until I was able to learn to get used to it and then get pretty good at it. But that was a long journey. Has there ever been a time in your life where you felt that way, and did you overcome it? Did you finally put your foot down and say, that's it, I want this badly enough? And if so, what did you do? I would really like to hear from you. And that's it for now. Osorio out.